With The Mandalorian Season 2 Episode 1, or Chapter 9 as they are calling it, releasing on Disney Plus tomorrow, I'm going to make some massive predictions for the episodes, including a potential appearance from a very well-known character who is looking pretty likely to make an appearance in the first episode. So before we get into it, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below to be notified as soon as I release my massive recap plus explainer video tomorrow, just after The Mandalorian Season 2 Episode 1 drops. So for Chapter 9 of The Mandalorian, we have actually received confirmation from Lucasfilm through Disney Plus that the length of the episode will be a massive 52 minutes. Now of course, I don't think this will be a solid 52 minutes of story and action, because that probably includes credits and other end screens, so I think the episode length will be closer to 45 minutes. From the first episode of Season 1, there were about 5 minutes of credits, so that makes a lot of sense. I'm very happy with an episode at that length, but let me know down below what you think. So this leads us on to the first major prediction. I believe that Din Djarin will be visiting Tatooine in the first episode. Along with the runtime being released, there was also a leaked image from the Disney Plus website that gives us a huge hint at the possible setting and location of the first episode, which looks a whole lot like Tatooine, especially compared to the buildings in episode 5 of Season 1. In the shot, we can see Din Djarin speaking to a Weequay bartender inside of what looks like a pretty familiar cantina. Looking back to Chapter 5 of Season 1, it definitely doesn't seem like the same cantina from that episode or A New Hope, but it does look like it's definitely on Tatooine. Looking at the comparison between the shots released in the Vanity Fair article earlier this month on what we pretty much know is Tatooine, the electrical equipment lining the walls of the leaked shot look very similar or almost identical to the ones in the Vanity Fair article. So that leads us to the next massive prediction. If it is on Tatooine but not on Mos Eisley, this could actually be Freetown or Mos Pelgo as it used to be known before the events of the Aftermath trilogy of novels. Freetown also happens to be the exact same city where the former slave named COBB VANTH is currently roaming around as a self-proclaimed sheriff, attempting to strongly enforce law and justice in the area. We already know that COBB VANTH is heavily rumoured to be appearing somewhere in the show played by Timothy Olyphant, and is confirmed for one episode by the major Hollywood publications. So if this is true, COBB VANTH would still be in this location in the current canon timeline, and will set up the return of a man who was last seen in the dark depths of a large beast, which I will get into in just a bit. The incredibly interesting thing about COBB VANTH is that in the Aftermath trilogy of novels, which takes place after Return of the Jedi, he is strongly implied to have obtained the armor of BOBA FETT himself after his fall into the Sarlacc pit. COBB VANTH obtained the armor by fighting a local criminal syndicate henchman named Adwin Charu inside of a Jawa sandcrawler. Charu was ordered by his boss to obtain this armor from the sandcrawler, but COBB VANTH accompanied him, pretending to be an ally, before turning his blaster on him and taking the acid-scorched Mandalorian armor for himself. The amazing part is, the boss who sent Adwin Charu to initially take the armor of Boba Fett was a Weequay, the same species as the person in the cantina speaking to Din Djarin. So I'm predicting that this man will be Logan Mavellan, the leader of the Red Key Raiders crime syndicate or one of his closest aides. If this bartender is Logan Mavellan and COBB VANTH is involved in the show, it really shows that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are staying incredibly faithful to canon. Let me know down below if you guys love the connectivity between the books and the TV shows, because I think it's really awesome when it's done well. Of course, this could just be a random Weequay, since there are many of them in the dodgiest places of the galaxy, but it would be a nice connection if it was right. Now, in the Aftermath books, COBB VANTH does actually strike the crime lord pretty harshly in the face with his blade, which I can't see too clearly in the photo, but it certainly could be on the other side, or maybe Weequays can simply heal wounds much better than humans. That brings us to the next prediction. There is absolutely no reason to introduce COBB VANTH or anybody from his story into The Mandalorian if there's not going to be an appearance from the man himself, Boba Fett. Because of this, I strongly believe that Boba Fett will be making his first appearance as early as the first episode of the show. In the first episode of the first season of The Mandalorian, nobody had any idea about the massive surprise that would be waiting for us in the final moments of the episode, Baby Yoda. I think that Boba Fett could be a similar surprise for Chapter 9, with a reveal of Boba Fett's survival from the Sarlacc pit being the massive cliffhanger. This is backed up by the fact that Disney and Lucasfilm aren't even letting the media access the first episode of the first season until it is released to the public, with everyone watching at the same time. This strongly points to a massive potential leak or spoiler being in Chapter 9. On top of this, Lucasfilm just a couple of days ago filed a brand new trademark renewal for the character name of Boba Fett, potentially pointing to a new line of merchandise featuring Boba Fett being revealed very shortly after the episode airs to the public. The last major time that his character trademark was updated by Lucasfilm was around 2010, when the first episodes of the Clone Wars involving Boba were preparing to release. On top of this, we already know for certain that Boba Fett will appear in the show because Tamura Morrison updated his resume on the biggest casting and talent website in Australia, where he is currently located, to include his appearance in The Mandalorian Season 2. And for those of you who don't know, Boba Fett did actually survive his tumble into the Sarlacc pit in Legends and was able to return with a Fury, so it was only a matter of time before they brought a fan favourite character back in canon. If the cantina isn't actually in Freetown, it may also very possibly be in Mos Espa, which would be a massive callback to the Phantom Menace and would make a lot of sense with the characters who we last saw on Tatooine. In the final moments of Season 1, Chapter 5, we of course saw the dark figure walking towards the body of Fennec Shand. Based on my earlier predictions, this is most likely COBB VANTH, wearing the badly damaged and acid-pocked armor of Boba, which would make sense with the rumors and the timing of Din Djarin's visit. Fennec Shand, who was probably not dead, also mentioned that she had a contact who was located in the town of Mos Espa. Now, on top of this, we did have a recent leak come out which claimed to contain every single episode title for The Mandalorian Season 2. I personally don't really believe these titles, but if they are true, I can definitely see the first one fitting with my earlier predictions. According to the leaks, the first chapter of the season will be titled The Search. When the leak came out, a lot of people believed that this could be related to searching for the homeworld of Yoda's species or for other Jedi and Force sensitives to help train the child, but if we are returning to Tatooine in this episode, I can certainly see it being related to the search for Boba Fett. The second episode's leaked title is also set as The Confrontation, meaning that maybe Din Djarin is searching for COBB VANTH, who he believes is Boba, and we are left on a massive cliffhanger at the end of the episode. Then in the second episode, we'll probably get a western standoff between the two, where eventually Boba recovers his armor. Personally, I'd love to see this, but let me know what you think down below. And finally, I have to at least mention Ahsoka in the prediction. We all know that she's pretty much confirmed to be appearing in The Mandalorian Season 2, played by Rosario Dawson, but unfortunately, I don't think that we'll be seeing her until at least midway through the season, and probably only for a very small role. As we saw from the official Lucasfilm writers list, Dave Filoni is directing episode 5 of this season, meaning that that's the most likely episode for Ahsoka to appear in, as she's pretty much Dave Filoni's golden creation. We've also had big rumors about Sasha Banks as Sabine, and many other characters from Dave Filoni's animated shows, but they almost certainly won't be thrown straight into the mix in the first episode, so you can almost rule them out for sure. Either way, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to check out my Rook cast is the Armor theory, which is in the pinned comment down below and a card on screen now. I think it's a fantastic theory and would further tie in with the Dave Filoni characters, which we already know are going to show up. So that is my full prediction for The Mandalorian Season 2 Episode 1, which is releasing very shortly on Disney+. Let me know down below what predictions you have about the show, because I'm incredibly hyped to see what happens in Din Djarin's story. Hopefully the Ahsoka reveal also comes pretty early in the season, but we'll have to wait and see. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to leave a like and subscribe to be notified as soon as I release my recap plus breakdown video tomorrow. Cheers guys, hope to see you in the next one.